So Pam Bondi is out and we've got a new attorney general. And in just a few days, he's making it quite clear what his priorities are. And I'll give you a little spoiler alert to the rest of this video. His priorities do not include helping you.
President Trump has made no secret of the fact that he wants to see his perceived political enemies prosecuted. So now that you're in this position, how are you going to balance that relentless pressure with this administration's promise to end the weaponization of this department?
Well, look, first of all, we have thousands of ongoing investigations and prosecutions going on in this country right now. And it is true that some of them involve men, women, and entities that the president in the past has had issues with and that believe should be investigated. That is his right, and indeed it is his duty to do that, meaning to lead this country. And so I do not view this as pressure. I do not view this as something that is going to keep me up at night, except to make sure that we are investigating every case that we have to the fullest extent of the law and using all the resources we can. And when you talk about weaponization, and it's become a word that is supposedly that when we talk about ending weaponization, as if that's a bad thing for us to do.
Trump's new attorney general used to be his personal defense lawyer, which is either the most corrupt thing you've ever heard or honestly, you've been paying attention and you're not that surprised. He barely answers the question he was asked, and then more importantly, he ends with, and what's wrong with the weaponization of this position? As Trump's former personal lawyer, and now his taxpayer dollar funded personal lawyer, here's what's wrong with it. The Justice Department has 8,000 ongoing cases right now. And you know what's not among a single one of them? Is a single prosecution of anyone involved with Jeffrey Epstein. Instead, they're spending their time investigating Democratic governors or Jerome Powell or anyone else who happened to piss off Trump that day. That is their priority.
People in this room, for 4 years, some of you, same people, sat here with the last administration when you saw a weaponization of this department, the likes of which had never been seen in history. And some of you are looking down now, and I get it, because you had a president who was indicted 4 times by this department. You had a president who, along with this department, had assistance. So this department helped 2 other local DAs go after the president. You had this department who stood idly by while states tried to keep President Trump off the ballot. Okay, that's what happened the past 4 years. And so when I'm asked questions or when I see reporting about shock and awe at this supposed weaponization of this Department of Justice, it means nothing to me because it's completely false.
So Blanche is talking about weaponization, and what he's talking about is the fact that Trump was indicted. But to be clear about how that process works, Trump was charged with 34 felony counts in New York alone by a jury of his peers. A room full of regular citizens like you or me looked at the evidence and said, yes, this is enough to go to trial. And that happened 4 separate times. 4 rooms of normal people looking at the evidence. But honestly, can we just focus on right now and what's happening today? Because while Trump and his personal taxpayer-funded lawyer are trying to rehash 2023, gas prices are skyrocketing, grocery bills are up, people are losing their jobs, healthcare is on the chopping block, the economy is in free fall. And the Justice Department, the one that again you pay for with your taxes, is spending its energy on revenge.
People say the president wants to go after his political enemies. No, the president has said time and time again that he wants justice. And if you look at what happened to him, his family, his administration, the agents that protected him, people that happened to just walk by him on a given day, they got subjected to massive investigations by this department. So I understand the question, and I understand the pretty constant role of the media that somehow this department is weaponizing itself, but it happens not to be true. We have tens of thousands of prosecutors all over this country putting bad guys in jail. Okay, that's something that wasn't happening like it should have been happening for the past 4 years.
So first, Blanche tries to get you to feel bad for Trump. Can you imagine what he went through? I mean, no. I can't imagine because I haven't been found guilty of 34 felony counts by a jury of my peers. I can't imagine having a hush money scheme or plotting to overthrow an election because those are things that I just wouldn't do. Second, he pivots straight into tough on crime, which has been part of the Republican playbook for 50 years. But if he is so tough on crime, what's happening with the Epstein files? How exactly do we have 3 million pages of files, a documented network of co-conspirators, survivors who have been waiting decades for accountability, and 0 people have been charged. How is it that that's possible? Why is it that the DOJ quietly removed pages from the public database that related to accusations against Trump himself? How exactly is that tough on crime? If Blanche wants to talk tough on crime, let's talk about the Epstein files, which Americans have been concerned about all year. Yet somehow, mysteriously, that's the one where Blanche and the Justice Department go very, very quiet.
Just to clarify, is the public going to learn the identities of the men who abused the girls with the information that you're releasing? And if not, why not? And then I have a quick follow-up.
I mean, you just baked in an assumption into your question that I have never said and I don't know to be true. Is the public going to learn about men that abuse these girls? Like, what does that mean? I mean, I don't understand what that means.
I mean, it's pretty clear to everyone else listening what that question was asking. This is the same guy who just told you that he's putting bad guys in jail and restoring justice to this country. Okay. And he understood every other question in that press conference just fine. Somehow, this is the one that confuses him. He just didn't want to answer that one because there is no good answer. The Epstein files are out, his network is documented, the survivors have been named, and I mean, their identities have been exposed while the abusers' identities remain redacted. That's what accountability looks like in Todd Blanche's and Trump's Justice Department.
I have very little faith. I have similar words to say about how Todd Blanche has handled this whole thing. As you stated earlier, it's important to recall that Todd Blanche is the one that basically gave convicted child sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell a platform to just really deny things, say whatever she wanted, speak in praise of herself, speak in praise of Donald Trump with 0 pushback. I mean, they call that an interview. That was basically just serving up a platform for a convicted child sex trafficker. So again, all the statements we've seen, all the appearances from Todd Blanche, again, continue to just be what every person in this administration seems to push forward, which is a praise of Donald Trump and his agenda. So again, I don't expect him to be much better than Pam Bondi.
I mean, this kind of tells you everything you need to know about Todd. This is the through line of everything that he says. He loves to talk a big game about putting bad guys in jail and getting justice, but then when it comes to actual, documented, convicted perpetrators in the most high-profile sex trafficking case in American history, he doesn't understand the question.
I wasn't part of the original prosecution team, neither was Attorney General Bondi, and I can tell you this, there's only one president that's held Mr. Epstein accountable, and that's Donald J. Trump. During his first administration, that was the administration that prosecuted him, and during this administration, it's the administration that's been totally transparent and released all the files. And no matter how much criticism people want to make about the Epstein files, that is indisputable. It's undisputable that nobody talked about the Epstein files for 4 years during Biden, 4 years. And so when President Trump said, let's release the Epstein files, and the law was passed that allowed us to legally do it, we did it.
Okay, I'm not sure you totally get what people feel about that, but I want to move on.
Do you think the investigators covered it up? Given how many victims there are, surely, I mean, there should be more prosecutions and more charges than there are.
Well, look, the Epstein files are available for everybody to see. So it's not, so do I think there was a cover up? No, I don't, but it's not just up to me. Everybody that's watching this, everybody that, the Epstein Transparency Act has now allowed us to release the entire Epstein files.
There's still 3 million held back though. Not all of them are public.
No, they're all public.
So in this first clip, Blanche is on Fox, which is the friendliest possible turf for him, and he says Donald Trump is the only president who has held Epstein accountable. And Jesse Waters of all people, looks at him and says, I'm not sure you totally get what people feel about that. When you lost Jesse Waters, you have badly miscalculated the room. Jeffrey Epstein's accomplices, people who have abused children, are still free, still wealthy, still powerful, and still completely unaccountable. That is what people are feeling. And then in this second clip, where he says there was no cover-up, files are available for everyone to see, totally ignoring the fact that 3 million pages are still being withheld. But honestly, like, what are we supposed to do with the fact that we can see the files? We're normal people. We can't subpoena anyone or convene a grand jury or arrest anyone. All of that is his job. The entire point of paying for a Justice Department with, I will say it again, your taxes, is because they are the ones with the power to actually do something about it. And he's not. What does he focus on instead? Getting revenge on whoever Trump happens to be mad at today. In just his first few days, Todd Blanche has proved that all he is going to do in this job is be Trump's puppet. He is going to follow orders and protect Trump and spend his time going after Trump's perceived enemies. His priority is not you, or your family, or your safety, or the survivors who've been waiting Decades for somebody in that building to give a damn about them. The priority is protecting Trump and rewarding his allies and punishing his enemies. That is it. This administration is not thinking about you. They are not losing sleep over your grocery bill or your healthcare or your job. They are not staying late at the office trying to figure out how to make your life better. They are laser focused on one thing and one thing only: what is good for Trump and for the people around him.